Mr. Wong Yuk-man, Chairman, the powers of LegCo members can be found in Article 73 of the Basic Law. You can summarize the powers into a number of areas. First, legislative powers. Very often, we can only vote for or against or abstain from voting in respect of government's motions. If we want to present our bills, we have to vote separately with respect to two groups of members. Second, we have powers to scrutinize the budget. So this is a very important power of the Council, given the current system we have. Of course, we don't have power to give consent to the appointment of government officials, but we can do so in respect of appointment of judges. And we can also put questions to the administration. You cannot say this is frivolous, this is superfluous or tedious. And we can also censure the CE. So, Chairman, you understand this as President. So we are talking about these heads to be incorporated in the schedule. Why can't we discuss the relevant matters? Why can't we raise the matters repeatedly? In these heads, the 14 heads, we can speak 15 minutes on each of the head, and it will be a long, long time. Why do you call this filibustering? Shouldn't you have make provisions for discussions? And if we speak competently on all the 14 heads for 15 minutes, then you can multiply the time required. 14 plus 15 plus 69, then how much time is needed? It's a silly idea on your part, Mr. Kwok-hung. So theoretically, we can do this, right? Chairman, Honorable Chairman, please tell us. We have 70 members. Apart from you, the 69 can speak or not speak. We respect their right not to speak. Maybe they will be criticized for not speaking and still receive the allowance of $87,000. And now he wants you to cut the discussion with that so-called golden scissors. I will not speak on all the 14 heads, and I'm prepared. Don't accuse me of filibustering. I will be talking about Ombudsman, Audit Commission, Government Flying Service. I'm selective. How can you call this filibustering? I'm in favor of the incorporation of most of the heads into the schedule, but I want to say something. I want to offer comments on some of those heads. Why not? What do you say I'm wasting public money? Why don't you accuse the wastage caused by the express rail link? As the old lady says, what do you think you are superior? We are born the same. And you have parents, so have other people. All right, so everyone can speak their mind. They can speak for 15 minutes.
So he can criticize those who filibuster, but you have to give me 15 minutes to respond to what he has said. Now, LegCo members have 5 powers. And Mr. Kwok-hung may not be aware of these powers, but I am familiar with these powers. I'm very familiar with these powers. Our powers are very limited. We have to operate within a lot of constraints, but still we have to exercise our duty as representatives of public opinion. What is meant by filibustering? It's just to have longer meetings so that people will know more about the content of the matter being discussed, so that pressure will be brought to bear on the government. Now, this is common practice in the legislatures worldwide, and in fact over 900 amendments put forward by Mr. Leung Kwok-hung have been ruled out of order. In fact, I have written an article in the Sun, and in this article I criticize you, Mr. Yuk-man. Now I have the right to speak my mind. Now, Chairman, you can't debate with me. Now, Mr. Yuk-man, you cannot challenge my ruling in this chamber. If you keep on digressing, then I have to stop you. Well, why do you want me to stop? Is it because I have antagonized you? Is it I've made you angry? Or is it because I have said something irrelevant? So is it that I can't talk about the President's ruling to rule Mr. Leung Kwok-hung's amendments out of order? No, so I have to be realistic. I want to continue to speak, so I'll have to obey the chairman. So in fact, apart from you, Chairman, 69 members can speak on this debate. The inclusion of the 14 heads into the bill. How come so many members have decided not to speak? And how come those who speak more than once have to be criticized? So why, but not a chairman? In fact, in theory, all members have the right to speak. There aren't enough members in this chamber, Chairman. Mr. Raymond Wong. Mr. President, ask them to come back earlier so we do not waste time. You always say this, so exert your influence. With regard to the 14 heads, now Mr. Kwok-hung has left the chamber again. Please allow me to respond to what he said. He said we were wasting public money and wasting time to the tune of $2.55 million. I'd like to tell him there are 69 members who can speak on this combined debate of 14 items. Everyone can speak for 15 minutes, and that would amount to about 1,000 minutes. If we multiply it by 14 heads, it would amount to 14,000 minutes, and you can divide it by 60 minutes, and you know how many hours it will take. Theoretically, it can happen that way, but according to convention, since there are no amendments on this schedule, there may not be a lot of room for debate, and so there will be comparatively fewer members speaking. But it doesn't mean that nobody should speak. We must clarify this point. He said those watching TV and those who are members of the public, I think they would listen to me more, not him. We have to talk sense. You should not be playing around with the concepts and cheat the public. Why don't you speak here? We have a meeting, and a meeting means we have to talk. What is a meeting? There are 3 people, and they follow certain rules and investigate into matters. Then we follow certain procedures and research into issues. Then that is a meeting. If 1 person speaks, it is a soliloquy. If 2 persons speak, it's a dialogue. But you are not speaking up. You have taken medicine, so you are dumb. And also, you disallow people from speaking. When people speak, you say people are filibustering. I have explained to you I will only speak on 3 of the 14 heads. So please do not mislead people. You allow him to put up all these props. Ms. Starry Lee will be the president of the DAB. He may even be the CE. It's all right for him to be putting up certain things behind his back. Okay, please do not digress, Mr. Wong. I have a few minutes more, and let me come back to the issue. But we don't have a quorum, President.
Mr. Wong Yuk-man. Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Wong Kwok-hung, please don't leave, or I will call for the counting of a quorum. I sat down to listen to you. I want to tell you that if everyone talks about the relevant heads for 15 minutes, that would be more than 10,000 minutes. Let me turn to Head 114, the Ombudsman first, and also the Audit Commission. These two bodies are there to ensure we have a clean government and civil service. Our CE is not elected through universal suffrage or one man, one vote. And in this council, only half of the members are returned by direct elections in the geographical constituencies. And the basic law gives us some authority. And we have an executive-led system or executive-dominated system. So it's important that this council should exercise some check and balance. And our power is very limited. And that's why in the colonial era, the British colonial government came up with the idea of setting up certain bodies to ensure a clean government. And that's why we have the Ombudsman, the Audit Commission, and the ICAC. Although the reputation of the ICAC has been tarnished by one particular head lately, so these bodies are there to ensure clean government, so as to make up for the deficiency in the power of this council and in the ability of this council to check the government. We are not proposing any amendments to these heads. So we do not object to the incorporation of these heads into the schedule. Why haven't we proposed any amendments to cut the expenditure? Well, because we think that for some departments, such as the Audit Commission and the Ombudsman, we should increase the funding. The Ombudsman is not doing a good enough job. It has investigation powers. It can rectify the government wrongdoing or wrongdoing on the part of departments. It's a watchdog, and sometimes it's even more effective as a watchdog because it enjoys its confer with certain investigation powers. Gradually, we are seeing some malpractice being commonly found in government departments. So the Ombudsman plays an important role in ensuring fairness, and that departments should provide accessible and convenient services to the public, and it should also prevent abuse of power. There's a recent case involving some FEHD officers insulting an elderly woman. They may think that they are enforcing the law, but it's actually an abuse of power. I've written to the Ombudsman saying that this has caused a public outcry. Don't think that this is just opinion expressed on the internet. But very often, the opinion on the internet can be mainstream opinion. Look at what one particular young person did yesterday, and the newspapers and the media would have to report his views. So why do government departments have their own websites? I will continue next time. Mr. Leung Kwok-hung, for the 4th time. You have to allow me, even if I have to speak for the 10th time. You allow Mr. Wong Kwok-hung to attack us. Well, there are no troubles but troubles caused by silly people. We are trying to criticize the government, and he's trying to criticize me instead. What do you mean by those ignorant people who don't know where the real issues lie? We have a system failure here. We have 5 kinds of power, and this power we are exercising is the real one. We can scrutinize the budget, and we have silence all over. As for the other powers, they are not real. We can only talk about them. Mr. Wong Kwok-hung, your common sense is so poor. This is an incorporation process. And he asked, why do members have to speak at the point of incorporation? Well, I have a dog. One day I spilled some rice, and the dog, instead of eating rice, tried to eat human excrement instead. And there's another story saying that a person doesn't know that the place is smelly because he's so accustomed to the odor. In the past, the governor regarded this council as just an advisory body, and so they could have closed meetings. Now we are elected to be members here. So why are we here? I bear no grudge against him. The FTU wants to fight for community-wide retirement protection. At that time, Mr. Tam Il-chung was still an outstanding and eminent representative of the working class. They did not have any vote. They were not electoral members. And they gained support by advocating this. So what have you done since then? Some 30 years have passed. So why are you doing them a disservice? You are digressing, Mr. Leung. Well, they are the FTU members. How do they judge other members? Well, he said what we do is useless. Well, of course, before the Hong Kong and the strike in Hong Kong and Guangdong was organized, it was thought useless. So you can say so. Say the same about other strikes. If the wishes, the aspirations of the FTU can be achieved, you don't need to get rid of me first. Even the government and other people of the bourgeois class would not do the same to me. It's just like the novel, The Red Chamber, The Dream of the Red Chamber. You can call this filibustering or not filibustering. It's about managing our wealth. What's the problem? What's your problem? Mr. Leung, you are digressing. Well, I'm not digressing. He has criticized me. He has attacked me. Members of the pro-establishment camp, if you want to blame anyone, you have to blame Mr. Kwok-hung. I want to call back members to listen to me. I will invoke 17(3) now. Mr. Leung, please don't shout in this chamber.
差幾多？係咪唔夠人？
過咗鐘啦。嘟一聲啊！
秘書點人夠唔夠人而家？
哇！最後尾嗰分鐘行入嚟，哎呀，黃國興你真係叻，頂呱呱！
由於剛才
when the 15-minute time limit was up, we did not have enough quorum. So we'll now resume. Council now resumes, and I adjourn the council meeting.